I'm Anil Kumar, sharing with you a very interesting question with application on factoring. The question here is, area of a circle is given by the expression 64 minus 48 x plus 9x squared. Determine all possible values of its diameter if x is a positive integer. You can pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. Let's try to understand this question. So we have a circle. This is the circle which we have. Now it says area of the circle. Now what is area of a circle? Area is pi r square. But we are given an expression which is 64 minus 48x plus 9x squared. Right? This is the expression which we are given. And we want to find the diameter. So let's say we want to find the diameter of the circle, right? So this is the center and we need to find the diameter. How are you going to find it? Now diameter is twice radius. So we can write diameter is 2 times radius. Now from the equation of area, we can find the radius in terms of x, and twice that radius will give us the diameter. Is that correct? So that is a strategy for us, okay? So from this expression, we are going to find the radius, and then twice radius will be the diameter. I hope the strategy is clear to you. Now you can actually pause the video, answer, and then look into my suggestions. Let's continue with this expression of area, which is equal to 64 minus 48 x plus 9x squared. You'll notice this is a perfect square. Since 64 is, let me rewrite, 8 squared, 9x squared could be written as 3x whole square, and the center term is 2 times 8 times 3x, right? 2 times 8 is 16, 16 times 3 is 48. And so we could actually factor this as 8 minus 3x whole square, right? So we get area as 8 minus 3x whole square. So that becomes the area for the given expression. Now how do I relate this area with the radius? Well, area is pi r squared. So instead of a, we could write this as pi r squared. Is that okay? That's correct. So how do we write r? How do we get r from this value? We could get r by dividing it by pi. So we get r as equals to 1 over pi. Let me write this as 1 over pi times 8 minus 3x whole square. Square root, right? This is actually r square. We'll do it in 2 steps. So r will be square root of this, and r has to be positive. So we will do 1 over square root of pi, right? And square root of this square term will be 8 minus 3x. Is that okay? So that is how we can get the value of r. So we have a value of r in terms of pi. 1 over square root of pi, 8 minus 3x. That's the value of r. Now the question says, determine all possible values of diameter if x is positive integer. So x is a positive integer. That means x is greater than 0 and x belongs to integers, right? So it could have values like 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, like natural numbers now, correct? So positive integers means natural numbers. Now what are the possible values of r? If I write x as 1, I will get 8 minus 3. If I write x as 2, we get 8 minus 6, that is positive 2. If I write x as 3, then be 8 minus 9, which is negative 1. So 8 cannot be negative 1, right? So r could have 2 values. Now let's write down the possible values of r, right? So let's write down the possible values of r, and then we will write down the diameter, which is twice r. So let's find out possible values for r, right? The radius. So let's substitute what values of x could be. Since r is equal to 1 over square root of pi times 8 minus, so let me write x as equal to 1 first. In that case, it will be 8 minus 3 times 1, right? 3 times 1. Is it okay? So this value will give us 1 over square root of pi. 8 minus 3 is 5, right? So it gives you times 5. This is for x equals to 1. What happens when x is equals to 2? If x is 2, we get 1 over square root of pi 8 minus 3 times 2, right? And that is 1 over square root of pi 8 minus 6 is 2, right? So we get 2 over square root pi. And we know x cannot be 3. Since for 3, we get negative value. So from here, we found that x can be equal to either 1 or 2, right? Not 3. Since x equals to 3 gives negative values. Is that okay? If I write 3 here, we get minus 1, and r cannot be minus 1. So r could have two values, 1 or 2. Correct? So based on these two values, we have two possible values of the diameter. So what we found here, that r has two values. One, r could be 5 over square root pi. Second, r could be 2 over square root pi. So we have r equals to 5 over square root pi, right? In that case, diameter is twice r, so diameter will be 2 times. 2 times 5 over square root pi, which is 10 over square root pi. Is that okay? Or r could be 2 over square root pi. So or r equals to 2 over square root pi. That means diameter could be 2 times. Diameter is twice radius. 2 over square root pi. That gives us value over 4 over square root of pi, right? So these are two possible values of diameter, right? So we can now write down the answer as diameter is equal to either 4 over square root pi or 10 over square root pi, right? Some of you can also write the answer in decimals. Well, the question doesn't say how many units, so writing in square root pi is better. Okay. But important thing here is, when you factor, you realize that there is a restriction on the value of radius when we do applications. As you saw here, r, the radius, cannot have negative values. So only two positive values are possible, 1 and 2. That gave us two values of radius and two values of diameter. So in such cases, you have to be careful to select the correct values. I am Anil Kumar, and I hope this helps to understand concepts of factoring and how they are applied. Thank you and all the best.